Good morning, everyone. Jim Lar joining you live from Diryama, Nicaragua. Running a little bit late today. Let me get Instagram going here. And there we go with Instagram. So good morning to you. Had a wonderful weekend. Um, did a lot of traveling around. It was a really interesting weekend. It was some holiday. I couldn't figure out what was going on, but there's a lot of people when they have a good time here, they have a really good time here. Like they love to celebrate things. They'll figure out a way to celebrate something. Um, and they dress up in the ceremonial, traditional, colonial Nicaraguan kind of wear, and they have dances and celebration. It's a lot of fun, but yeah, it continues to amaze me. I was driving on a back road to get to the lake that over behind here. If you look at my live on Instagram yesterday, you'll see where I was. But this is like a dirt road. It's kind of muddy. It's like rocky and it's got ruts in it from all the rainy season. And there's this really attractive girl on the back of a motorcycle riding side saddle, both legs over one side of the motorcycle. She's just balancing herself on the back of the motorcycle and she's doing her makeup while she's going down this road that's all over the place and muddy and just like nothing, da 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 in this like really nice dress with heels on the whole deal and just like nothing, just another day at the office. People riding down these really muddy roads on a bicycle with like one person sitting on a basket behind the person pedaling and another person on the handlebars and the person pedaling has to be incredibly strong, not to mention you're going through mud and stuff. It's just crazy. um some of the other things that I see that just amaze me are just the amount of work these people can do, like the physical labor that these people can do on a daily basis. I watch these people work, and their work capacity is just off the chart. They can do low level manual labor all day, no matter how hot it is, day after day after day. Just incredible. So definitely is something that's missed in the modern world. So run a little late today. It's really wild. I've for the first year I've been here, I've been like, I'm just going to eat what I'm served. I'm not gonna um, I'm not going to, you know, split hairs over things. If I get like rice and French fries and plantains with every dinner, then I'm just gonna do that. I've done that for a year. I haven't really gained that much weight. My body composition has changed a little bit. It's not as dialed in as I'd like it, but that season is over now. I am going to start eating less rice, less beans, less plantains, and trying to explain in a Latin American culture, Latin American country, that all you want is like this morning, all I wanted was 6 eggs scrambled and basically vegetables, right? And they looked at me like I had lost my mind. Like, you don't want the rice, you don't want the beans, you don't want the plantains. Like, no, I just want some squash, some tomatoes, and they did it. But it took me about 5-10 minutes to explain to them. They're like, no Gala Pinto, no this, no that. I'm like, no, I just want meat, basically eggs and vegetables. It was very hard for them to understand that. So the amount of carbohydrates they feed you here is absolutely nuts. I'm still going to eat some carbs, but I'm going to put it more after my workouts, as I've done traditionally in the past, and that's generally what works best for me. So let's get on to the topic. What adaptations are you driving and is working harder? The answer. Now, the vast majority of my clients over the last 30 years, and even the ones I still attract today, okay, we recently, sent out an email with Dr. Stillman, saying that I'm going to be taking on some personal clients, just a few, because I want to have a few people that I'm working with. Most of those people are overachievers. Most of them are people that are working really, really hard. They're training hard. They got, on the men's side, they're usually business owners, or they've usually competed in powerlifting or CrossFit or something, and they burn themselves out. They've injured themselves, something along those lines. On the female side, it's usually women that are training really hard. They're doing classes, they're doing marathons, they're doing all sorts of stuff, and they're either gaining fat or they've lost weight and they're not happy with the way they look. Okay. So a lot of it is aligning the adaptation up with what the goal is. And if you're an MMA fighter or a wrestler, you need to add some circuit type training into your repertoire. But for the vast majority of people that are just looking to lose a little bit of body fat, exercise is one of the worst ways to do that. Now, exercise is great for your health. Don't get me wrong; it does help increase lean muscle mass is really the number one goal of exercise to a certain point. And then flowing and being smooth and adapting, being able to use the right strategy at the right time. So when you're moving around the house, you're flowing, you're relaxed. And when you have to pick up like a big bag of dog food, or you got to pick something up in the garage, or you're able to brace, create pressure and pick it up. Being able to switch back and forth from both sides of that is excellent. Now, if you're a high level athlete, you're going to have specific adaptations that are essential for you. Like a high level sprinter is going to be have an interior orientation so they can put more force on the ground. My job as a strength coach is to make sure I don't drive that adaptation so far that they get, they increase their probability of getting injured. Most of the women that I've worked with, they end up getting caught in this, like, I got to burn it off mentality, right? Men tend to not get caught up in that mentality, but women are like, oh my gosh, I eat a carrot cake, I'm going to have to go do extra spinning classes, right? The problem with conditioning, and there's nothing wrong with conditioning, it should be a part of any balanced program. The more conditioning you do, the more efficient you become, the less calories you burn. And then if you try and add more activity to burn body fat, your body's just going to dial back where it burns calories in other places. It's going to subconsciously make you less active later in the day. It's going to pull resources away from non-essential systems, right? So exercise, intense exercise, most people can't exercise enough to out-train a bad diet, right? And if your circadian rhythm is broken, you're not getting outside, it's even worse. If you look at, there's a guy on Instagram who's incredible. I share a lot of his stuff, right? And Duncan, let me show you his Instagram page. Let me see here. Share screen. Which Instagram one? That's the one I want. Okay, so this is Fred Duncan, great coach. Been following him for years. I can't remember if I've met him personally or not, but he's got a lot of athletes training on here, right? And like, what most people don't understand is that the majority of training is going to be something like this, right? She's doing different types of skips. She's doing highly strategic drills, right? Yes, she is doing some high speed running, but she's doing drills that are specific to her. Most of your training is going to be working on starts. It's going to be, it's not going to be all out, right? Most of the training is going to be drills. Most of the training is going to be preparing for the high intensity work. And it's going to be stuff that is not that intense, right? So a lot of it's going to be stuff like this, right? Stuff on the ground, like football players, football practice. Like, I played football for most of my life, and the vast majority of football practice is low to moderate activity. It's not high intensity. Maybe 20% of football practice is high intensity. Maybe. Okay, if you got a smart coach. Same with wrestling. Most of wrestling practice is warming up and drilling and going through the motions and learning how to do things more efficiently. You build that foundation so you can put intensity on top of that. Most people don't take enough. If they want to use exercise to burn calories, because you can go and run and burn, say you run for 2 hours, and let's just throw a number out there, you burn 300 calories. Well, you basically blow that out the window when you have one donut, and it takes what, 3 seconds to eat a donut. So you're much better off fixing your circadian rhythm so you don't crave as much garbage, and then eating more protein and vegetables and getting your processed foods under control. And then getting on a good strength training program that increases muscle mass so you don't lose muscle as you get your calories under control. That is going to give you the results that most people want, which is to look good naked and to feel good. Now, you can lift 2 to 3 days a week and essentially walk every day. And basically, you are going to do everything you need to have a more athletic body, the best version of yourself. Most people, I am never going to look like, I don't know who to compare myself to, but like, I'm never going to look, I am blocky and I am built like a fire hydrant. I am never going to be long. I'm never going to, I could do all the yoga, all the Pilates in the world. I'm just built like a brick. I'm built like a fire hydrant. Somebody that, like Dr. Stillman, is the opposite. He's long, he's lanky. He's never going to look like me, no matter what he does. I'm never going to look like Dr. Stillman, no matter what I do. But the idea is to become the best version of me, right? According to what my goals are. My goals used to be as strong as possible. Now my goals is to maintain a muscular physique and not take away from my movement options even more than they've already been taken away. I've never, because of my structure, I'm never going to be a super bendy person. That's totally fine. But I don't want to take myself even further. Like, I don't want to continue to chase like heavy deadlifts and heavy squats. I still do those things because I like them, but I do them in a way that doesn't take away from my movement options quite as much. Right. So most of the people that I've dealt with are doing a lot of things that really are not taking them towards their goal. They're taking them away from that goal. Okay. That is the bottom line. So a lot of this is understanding how certain things make you adapt. And most women want to have a nice athletic physique, which equals lifting some weights a couple times a week, some moderate conditioning, and lots of walking, and then controlling your diet, eating foods that are highly satiating, not refined, and eating for performance, eating to build muscle as opposed to starvation. So there's just a few thoughts for you. My poor dog is going crazy back in the background there. He is barking. Let me let him out really quick. I'll be right back. Live stuff. Sorry about that. My older dog was going crazy. I put him in his bedroom so he doesn't play with the puppy during the call. But he was getting a little jealous because he wasn't outside. So, and then this is a very quiet neighborhood, so people tend to get a little upset if the dogs bark a little too much or things like that. So that's basically the bottom line is are you doing things that are actually driving adaptations that you want? And the problem with tons of exercise is your body just becomes more efficient. You end up burning the same or less calories. And a lot of times when you train really, really hard, or you're doing a lot of cardio, and you need to do cardio for your health, you don't do cardio with the goal in mind to specifically lose body fat. You do cardio with the idea to increase capacity so you can train harder in the weight room. You can do things that, if you're competing in a sport or something along those lines, that's the reason you do cardio, to improve health. You don't do it to necessarily, it's not a very efficient way to lose body fat. And so the idea is to figure out, and for most people, it's lift weights 3 days a week. This is the formula that I found that works. I've seen it work time and time again for over 20 years. I worked with a good sample size of people. Eat real food, eat a protein at every meal. I've seen carbs at every meal work. I've seen low carb work. I've seen carb cycling work. But the bottom line is what works is a protein at every meal, maintain muscle mass through lifting about 3 days a week, do something you enjoy, tennis, pickleball, golf, and walk. That's essentially the formula. And then the thing that supercharges all of it is if you take your light like sunlight. Seriously, if your circadian rhythm isn't broken, your body's going to work much better. Your hormone production is going to be higher. You're going to have more balance. You're going to sleep better. You're going to crave less garbage and less refined food, because when you sleep well and you're not sleep deprived, your body just works better in general when your circadian rhythm is in order. It doesn't fix everything, but I think it's the foundational component is the circadian rhythm. And that's why I constantly talk about getting outside, getting in the sun, getting into nature. Because if sleep is good, everything else is good. If you put exercise and intensity on someone that isn't sleeping, it's not going to end well for them. They're not going to feel great at all. So that's basically the bottom line. I'm happy to take any questions at all, but don't get caught up in this mentality, particularly you ladies, that you can burn it off. It's not necessarily the case. And then when you start, understand you don't have to do much in the beginning to get better. You need to lay a good foundation. You need to lay a foundation to build more intense training on top of. And strength training is not circuit training. It's not like you go and you get on this exercise and you go right to this exercise and you're going nonstop, and you're like, after a strength training session, you should feel like you've worked hard, but you shouldn't be out of breath the whole time. You shouldn't be exhausted. You should feel challenged. You should feel your muscles working, but you should be taking minute rests in between exercises. You can pair things together if the gym has the bandwidth to do that. Like the gyms I work out at have a lot of people in them. So a lot of times I wish I could go back and forth between exercises. I like doing that. I like going back and forth between a press, like say a chest press, and a hack squat or a kettlebell squat or whatever. A lot of places you can't do that because there's so many people in there. So I'll sit and I'll do my chest press or my dumbbell press. And then maybe I'll do some sort of little drill in between to work on getting into my hips or something while I'm resting. But I'll take a minute rest and then I'll do the set again. I'll take a minute rest, do the set again. But I really love, like when I owned my own place, everything we did was in circuits. It was like chest presses on the floor in between deadlifts or squats. Maybe it was incline, dumbbell presses with feet elevated on the wall in between squats, pull downs in between split lunges, things like that. But a lot of times people don't have the ability to do that because, you're at a gym where all the equipment's being used and you might only have one equipment option as well. So ladies tend to love the group classes. They tend to love the loud music. They tend to love that social interaction. But honestly, if you want to get the results that last long term, you need to train more like the bros, the bros that are in the weight room. That's going to get you the results you need over the long haul. That doesn't mean you can't throw some fun things in there as well, but lifting for hypertrophy, lifting for strength, is going to give you the results that you want much more sustainably than doing high intensity interval type stuff. That does work for a season, but it doesn't work long term. It works better with a strength base sprinkled in, and the session not going any more than 10 minutes. I've found that, Aerodyne bikes, things like that. I found that dragging sleds, doing strongman type stuff, carries, sled dragging, medicine ball throws, that is a really nice way to add some conditioning into a program, as opposed to let's everybody do burpees, everybody do this, everybody do that, the amount of exercise you have to do to burn enough calories to make a significant amount of impact on your physique is unsustainable for most people and unattainable for most people. So I am happy to answer some questions if anyone has any. If not, we will be on with our day. Get on the Stillman Wellness email list for the webinar that I'll be doing this week. I have a bunch of requests. I haven't decided what topic I'm going to cover. Last week was food tips and tricks. We had a whole bunch of people sign up for that. That was one that people really enjoyed. So I'm going to do some research and figure out what topic I'm going to do this week. And of course, I have my Vitality Brotherhood free group. Just go to vitalitybrotherhood.com. If you're over 40, you can join that. I have 2 calls this week where I basically answer questions and do that in that group. It's totally free for now. So go ahead and get on that. And of course, if you're interested, I have spots for a couple people coaching one-on-one. If you would like to learn about what I offer service wise, just instant message me on Instagram, and I'd be happy to set you up with a discovery call, and we can talk about your goals and what you're trying to accomplish. So have yourself a great day. Make sure you get outside today. Make sure you understand what adaptations you're trying to drive. And if obviously, if you're a marathon runner, or if that's your total, like that's your goal is to be a marathon runner or to run triathlons, that's a totally different animal. But I would never tell someone to run a marathon with the goal of losing body fat. It's just not very efficient. And most of the people, when they start running marathons, are not very happy about what happens to their body composition. So have yourself a great day. Make sure you get outside. We'll see you again soon.